Okay, so hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Ito Novio late night show. My name is Carmen, and if you're tuning in, I do want to let you all know that you can now catch up on all episodes of the Ito Novio show on Spotify. I know not a lot of people be watching the videos or they watch the videos on and off. So like if you're just like an auditory type of person, you can go on Spotify and listen to the show now. So no excuses not to tune into my show, all right? But I want to give a huge thanks to Melissa and Vanessa. Last week we had them on. They're from the I'm Uncomfortable podcast, and we talked about writing letters to your ex. I know it was kind of crazy. At first, I wasn't for it, but honestly, I feel like it was such a therapeutic experience for them that I even took that on. So if you haven't listened to that episode, I'm going to put it in the description box below so you can catch up. And who knows, maybe you'll want to write a letter to your ex, but try to have like, a bottle or something on the side just in case, because some feelings might pop up. But this week, we're going to be talking about a very, very important topic that I've kind of just always wanted to ask, a member of the opposite sex. It's always good, to have good banter between male and females or however you identify. But we're going to be talking about turn-ons and turn-offs. And I actually have a very special guest here. He's also a host of his very own podcast. So, hey, Nick, how are you?
Doing good. About you, Carmen?
Good. Happy Thursday. We're literally so close to the weekend. I'm like waiting.
Right. Happy Friday Eve.
Yeah, Friday Eve. Me and my friend, we actually call Thursday Friday Junior.
Okay. Okay.
We're
I
like,
love
it's
that.
Friday Junior.
Right.
Yeah, so welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how did you start the podcast?
Thank you. So I'm from Arkansas, which is Little Rock, Arkansas, but I'm in Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado right now. And so with the podcast, it was just kind of honestly like everyone else starting a podcast during 2020. It was, COVID was happening, just kind of going a little stir crazy. And honestly, throughout that time, I was actually on Facebook and social media a little bit more than what I was used to. And just over the course of the past 5 years with my son and everything like that, I've put a lot of work in myself and growing and reading books and just a lot of experiences and things like that. And so I had a conversation with a young lady over Facebook, and she was we were talking about depression, and she gave me, I was started giving her book recommendations, quotes, experience, and it was just like I was just flowing with information, and I just got to the point where it was like, yo, like I'm at the point where I need to start giving this information back. And so, ironically enough, a cousin of mine had me on her show, and she was asking me questions, and again, it was just like all this information came just like rushing out. And so I made a podcast. I came up with the idea of Forbidden Fruit podcast, the taking the story of Adam and Eve and playing on that as though when you bite from the apple, you'll learn about whatever, like love. You'll learn about being turned on by intelligence and things like that. And so, people caught on to the concept, and here we are.
No, I love the name, honestly, like, because I think you had DM'd me about, hey, like, check out my episode, which I think was like a great little strategy to get me to listen. But yeah, it was like Forbidden Fruit podcast. I'm like, is this a scam? Like, what's going on? I wasn't sure. But honestly, like, I love the idea. I'm always kind of like curious as to like what makes someone want to start a podcast, because everyone has a story to tell. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So
That's kind of like the basis of the show. Like, I mean, I tell my stories in the beginning because I if I'm going to ask people to be vulnerable and share their stories, I need to go first. But
right.
after a while, it's going to get to the point where I can't predict my life in a way that I can, plan podcast episodes. So at some point, I'm gonna have to rely on other people's stories, and so hopefully that opens up a dialogue where people can share their life changing experiences and stories and things that they've learned.
No, yeah, I fuck with that. I think it's really cool too, because I want to interview like, other like-minded people who have their own projects and kind of pick their brain, because I mean, with this show, I'm very like focused on love, sex, and relationships. And I know
Right.
not all podcasts talk about that 24/7. So
Right.
I'm really happy that you're here, because we're actually going to be talking about turn-ons and turn-offs. And
Okay.
you had mentioned it a little bit, about, educating yourself and others. So I'm going to put y'all on, if y'all have just tuned in, to a new term. Well, not so new, but new to me, because I didn't know that was what it was called. But it's called being a sapiosexual or sapiosexuality. And if you're listening to that, you're like, what the hell is that? So basically, it means being turned on by someone's intelligence, their drive, their passion, some of the things that they, are super passionate about, they just talk about heavy. What do you think about that? About someone being turned on about someone's intelligence?
I think it's necessary because I mean when you're talking about attraction, at some point, if you're, let's just say if you want to be in a meaningful relationship, then the physical attraction, the initial attraction is not going to identify you or draw you to somebody that gives you the best chance of a healthy relationship, right? So if I see somebody that's, oh, she's beautiful, okay, that's cool. But then what? You know what I mean? Like, how can you build on how someone looks to make your relationship strong and make a good connection? And so, with the intelligence part is, I think the purpose of relationships, regardless of what it's for, whether it be romantic or whatever, is to make each other better. You know, iron sharpens iron. And so, if you can't have someone that has their own ideas, their own perspectives to challenge yours, not necessarily just agree with you just to, to be, I don't know, just agree with you just because, then that's what's going to make you better as a person. And then also in turn, make the relationship, I feel, better. Because if
Mm.
you don't grow, then I feel like that's when people kind of get bored. Because if you're the same person today, 5, 10 years ago, then, I feel like that is why a relationship gets stale. But if you're constantly evolving, constantly growing, then that's what makes it exciting. It's kind of like me. I have a 5-year-old son. And it's like every year that he's into something new. You know what I mean? Like it's this new realization, it's this new ability, skill, interest. And I feel like you can have that same dynamic in a relationship. And so I think that is what keeps everything, in my opinion, keeps everything fresh and interesting. If you can constantly see firsthand somebody go from having certain immaturities and then to become this, evolving butterfly of a person, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I agree. I think recently I went on a date and I kind of like put that guy on the spot as well. I was like, oh, I think I'm a sapiosexual. And he was like, what does that mean? So, after explaining it to him, I was like, I honestly think being kind of like into someone's intelligence or their drive or passions kind of does get me turned on, not gonna lie, because I feel like people are constantly growing and evolving. I'm never gonna know someone for who they are like right now, because
Right.
tomorrow you might be a different person, or 5 years from now you might be a different person. So I think that's where that comes for me. But do you think that maybe you might have some sapio sexual tendencies, or do you think you're like, nah, like that's not my love language?
No, I mean, I think I think you have to be drawn to that. I think honestly, I mean, I think that's a part of just maturation in general, right? Like when I was younger, it was just, the cutie, the cute girl with a nice body, nice butt, whatever. But at the same time, like,
I
you
like
know
how
what I
you're
mean?
being honest here.
Right, right. But I mean, but for real though, but what is that going to get me? Am I going just going to say, like, is our relationship consist of me just looking at you all day? Is it going to consist of us having sex all day? I mean, that's not really realistic. And so for me and I've realized is that not only is it a big turn on, but not having that intelligence is a big turn off. Because if I ask you, like, what's your opinion on something, and you don't have an opinion on anything, like that's huge for me. Like, because for me, I was raised by strong women. Like pretty much a single mom, my stepmom, I was around my older sisters, and like they always have an opinion. You know what I mean?
Of
I mean,
course, women do.
right? They're gonna tell you. And so for me, like that's
Hmm.
what strength looks like for me. You know what I mean? And so it's like you can't not have an opinion about certain things because like I think that's how you develop respect. You know what I mean? Like if you ask me how I feel about something and I never thought about it, like for you on that date, you put him on the spot really exposed him. So it wasn't a way where he could fake that. Like he either knew what you was talking about or had an opinion about it, or he just doesn't. And so for me, like I know when I'm like starting to get in my feelings about somebody legit is when
Hmm.
I start to think about, let's just say if I see something in the news or I read a book or I hear a quote or I listen to a podcast and I think, well, damn, like what does so and so think about this? If I start thinking or wondering what your opinion is on something, then that's when I know I'm legit like interested in somebody.
That's a good way to tell, I think, too, because honestly, I mean, I'm not trying to like date myself. I'm 27, so I'm still pretty young. Because people be thinking like, dang, 27, that's old. Like, no,
It's not,
no,
no, no,
it's not. Okay.
it's not at all.
But I feel like, as I'm getting older and more mature, I've started to notice that I'm more interested in what the partners that I'm dating have to offer. But I don't mean like in terms of like monetary and like finances and things like that. I'm more interested, like, okay, what are your goals? Do you have goals? Like, what are you working towards? Like, are you just stagnant? Like, what are you doing? Do you
Right.
feel like it's the same for you since you've, you know, matured and gone through life?
It is. It is honestly, and it's crazy because I feel like that mental connection. Because for me, it's like respect and trust are like the hand in hand. Like if I can't respect you, then I'm not going to trust you, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to want to know how you feel about certain things. And so for me, like I've actually dated women that I found to be beautiful, but then you start talking to them, and it's just like you have no opinion about anything, and then it's like the literal physical attraction like goes away. And I've also dated women that I really wasn't like that just that attracted to. Not saying they weren't attractive, but you start to talk to them and they have all these opinions and they can, like they have read certain books and had these experiences, can articulate how they feel and extremely self-aware, then that to me literally makes the physical attraction even stronger. And I feel like in my experience, and I'm not saying I know this for sure, but I feel like with women, psychologically, even from like a sexual standpoint, like if you're more psychologically engaged with a guy, then I feel like, that makes the sexual connection stronger, if that makes any sense.
No, it's true. I could tell that you are a grown person because of your opinions, honestly. I feel like you could really tell a lot about someone just through talking, banter. Like you said, like
Right.
even like something so easy as like, okay, what do you want to eat? You know, like can you at
Right.
least let me know like what you want? Something so simple. So like I think it's very, very important. I mean, even for those that are listening and that are in their early 20s and, you know, late 20s, whatever, I think it's always important just to also look into what that person has to offer here. Because I mean, the body banging right now, but it's not going to be banging when I'm like 90. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
I
Right.
hope. So, you know, if the body starts like withering away, I hope that this at the end of the day still keeps you stimulated when y'all are older and who knows, you know?
Right.
So that's definitely important for me.
And kind of like what you were saying is like it's not, you don't get a mulligan, you don't get a redo, you don't get to be 50 and learn these things and then get to go back when you're 20 and 30 when you feel like it's most useful. So I feel like you have to evolve and grow as quickly as you can so you can use the information when it's most valuable to you. Because I mean, like I've heard stories of women in their 60s like still dating like toxic guys.
Right.
Right. So it's like you don't want to look up at 60 and like damn, like my life is pretty much, I'm not gonna say over, but I mean, what, 20, 30 more years to live. And then you
Mm-hmm.
pretty much missed out on the opportunity of developing the maturity to identify somebody that can actually help you become a better person and be happy and healthy and safe in a good relationship. And so I feel like these things have to become more important to you as opposed to just the physical, because like you said, that's going to go away at some point.
Right. I mean, trust me, I don't want to get to that point, but I know we're all going to get to that point. I'm just like, can we like slow the process down a little bit?
Right.
Um, but I do want to, you know, also talk about some turn offs, whether physical or non-physical. And I know you don't speak for like the whole male species, but I would say, and I would want to know, what are your top three turn offs?
Top three turn offs. I want to say the whole not having an opinion, no lack of resilience is huge for me. Uh, I
Can you
feel like
explain that?
so lack of resilience is, let's just say, if someone at work says something bad about you and it just doesn't break you. You know what I mean? Like I understand people have their challenges. You're gonna have your ups and downs, and it's good for for a partner to be there for you. But if every single thing breaks you, then in my mind, how can you handle the challenges of a relationship? Because life in general is going to be hard. But let's just say if we
Right.
have our conflicts and someone called you a poo poo head at work and you break down crying, then how are you going to deal with me? Because
Mm,
I'm telling you right now, like I'm harder than that. And I'm not speaking for every guy, but me, like my personality is dominant, and I show interest in you by poking and prodding, asking questions, challenging you. And so if you can't handle that, you're not going to be able to handle me. And then it comes with the whole respect thing. So if you don't speak up for yourself, not to say like I'm an asshole and I want to just be dominant and roll over you, but at the same time, if you're not speaking up for me, like I'm in go mode. I'm going to collect all the information I have and I'm going to make a quick decision. And if you don't let me know, hey, this is how I feel, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, I like this, I don't really like this, then I'm going to just make the decision that I feel like is best at the time, and I'm going to keep pushing. And then at some point,
Right.
kind of like you were saying earlier, you don't really want to date yourself. But if it gets to the point where I'm the only participant in this relationship, then it's kind of like, I'm dating myself. I read in a book, I want to say it was I forgot what the name of the book was, but it said if two people are always in agreement, one of them isn't necessary. And so if you can't challenge each other and handle that challenging of somebody, not necessarily taking it personal, then how can you last for the long haul? You know what I mean? We're not going to make
Mm-hmm.
it to 50, 60, 70, 80 if you can't handle a little bit of adversity. And so, and then again, like I say with the whole respect thing, I feel like, and I've had this conversation with other people. It's certain women that you just see that you respect on sight, just how they carry themselves. It's like if I step to her, I gotta come 100% correct. There's no,
Right. You better come
no,
correct.
it's no BS. It's no whatever. I mean, it's kind of like I don't know. Just an example, kind of like a Michelle Obama, or if like a Jill Scott, or like a Felicia Rashad, somebody like that. When you see him, like yo, I gotta come with it, as opposed to just being able to just say whatever you want to with confidence. Like you respect them on sight. So I feel like a lot of guys look. I mean, women are already objectified anyway, and
Mm-hmm.
so if you have a guy for whatever reason doesn't respect a woman individually, then I think that's where the disrespect comes from. Like a guy can say whatever they want to you because they don't feel like you're going to stand up for yourself, or you're going to be not going to be strong for yourself. It's kind of like, narcissists pick out people that they feel like they can victimize. And so if you're strong and you carry yourself in a way that, yo, you can't just run up on me any kind of way, then I feel like your interactions and who you attract to yourself is going to be significantly better. And then on top of that, the weak cats out there that can't handle that, they're not even going to try it. It's not even going to be something that they even consider, because I used to be like that, where if I saw a woman that was extremely confident, successful, knew what she wanted, like I wouldn't be so quick to approach her, as opposed to a woman that really wasn't sure about what she wanted. So I
Isn't that
think,
crazy that that was you and your younger self?
yeah,
You
I
were like,
mean, but
let me like not really try. Well, not really try, but you know what I mean? Like you kind of were like, ooh, hesitant about going for the gold stars.
right, right. But a lot of that was just, but again, a reason why it's better to be attracted to that stuff is because I was like that, because I was extremely insecure. So I feel like, so with that, those women that were confident and exuded that, and it was like their aura, they pretty much saved themselves from having to deal with the cat that was insecure, that was pretty much the
Toxic.
opposite. Exactly. It pretty much was the opposite, the antithesis of what they were. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I mean, it kind of comes full circle. Like you have to evolve in your attraction. Because I feel like it's like, I call it 5 levels of attraction.
Oh wait,
So
you said 5 levels?
yeah.
We need to know these levels. Let us know.
All right, so the first level, like that base level, is like just like that crazy shit you like. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's just like that. For the longest, if a woman looks mean, or like, what I'm saying, like pissed off, or just like madly aggressive or whatever, like that to me just caught my attention for whatever reason. And then you got the second level of attraction is physical. It's like physical attraction. Like, do you have a physical type? The third level of attraction is like similar interests. Like we like to have podcasts together. We like to go play ball together. Like we like to go sing or whatever together. We connected on the fact of this commonality. And then the fourth level of attraction is like personality. Is she outgoing? Is she shy? Is she fun? Is she exciting? Is she kind of laid back, temperament and stuff like that? And then I feel like the highest quality of attraction is like characteristics, uh, mental toughness, resilience, self-awareness, vulnerability, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because it's like, again, those things, I feel like the higher you get up on that list are qualities that give you the best chance at a healthy and long lasting relationship. You know what I mean?
And that's the whole point. I feel like, you want to strive to have a healthy and resilient and long lasting relationship. I mean, I hope that everyone's at least trying to do that in all aspects of their life, not just romantic, but like through friendships or have you. But I think it's very important too, because sometimes, we're so quick to be like, oh, my turnoff is he's not tall, or
Yeah. Yeah, I see that a
it's
lot.
like very superficial stuff, like, oh, like he doesn't like pineapple on his pizza or something. So I feel like we're so quick to go at it at the superficial level that we don't really think about, like you said, like resilience, like are they level-headed, do they not have a temper? Like things that actually matter, not just little trivial things that we, for some reason, carry so much importance.
Right.
So what would you say, like, for men and women who maybe have a specific type that they always go for, like, would you recommend for them to kind of look at it in a different light when it comes to turn-ons and turn-offs?
So when you say turn-ons, are you talking about like the physical attraction, or are you talking about just in general?
In general.
Yeah, I think you have to be, because this is the thing, like we don't know enough about ourselves to know what it is that we want, like at all times. You know what I mean? Like who I was 5 years ago is not even anywhere close. So as let's say if I was with somebody 5 years ago and it lasted up until now, and I became the person that I am, and if that person didn't evolve with me, then is a pretty good chance that the connection, the attraction wouldn't be the same. And so it's kind of like it was a day, it was a month or two ago where I was kind of caught off guard. So I was, so I'm in Colorado, and I was walking into the gym, and it was ridiculously cold. And so I was walking into the gym, I was completely bundled up. It had been like 0 degrees outside. And so I'm walking up, and I see this woman walking up to me to the door. So I'm like, all right, I got to at least hold the door for her. And so she had on, I kid you not, shorts, a t-shirt, and she was just like, waltzing, like taking the time and on her phone. And I was like, yo, you are crazy. Like, how are you not cold right now? And she was like, oh, it's nothing. She was like, oh, it's nothing. And I was so turned on by this. Like the mental toughness that she had not to be phased by literally 0 degree temperatures. I was like, yo, like this chick is tough. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she's dope. Like the mentality that she's had, the things that she had to overcome in her life to be like this, not only in a way that's psychological, but it manifested, physically, because cold is cold. And so I know I've seen her before. It's just the crazy thing about it. But I didn't notice her because physically she really wasn't my type. But I guarantee you, if she walked into the gym, I'm gonna know she's in there. And so it's like, I don't think that you have to look at it like you're gonna sacrifice a physical attraction being attracted to these things. Because again, like I've seen, like I literally seen her before, and I never was attracted to her. And if you described her to me, it's like, hey, I got this friend of mine I want to introduce you to, and you described it to me and maybe showed a picture, like, nah, I'm good. But after that, after having like that, after seeing that in her, it completely flipped the switch. So don't feel like you have to sacrifice physical connection by prioritizing like character and intelligence, ambition and drive and stuff like that. You're really not.
No, I agree. I feel as well, like as I'm getting older and whatnot, like when I'm interacting with some of the people that I'm dating, I'm being more focused now on like some of the things that you mentioned, like character. Are they family oriented? Like, do they have something going on their own? Like, are they independent? Like, do they have their own life? What are their hobbies? And because I feel like I'm very like into creative type work, and then also being out and things like that. So if that person doesn't really like not have to match me at 100% all the time, but like if they're at least interested in some of the things that I'm interested in, that's also like a turn on for me, because I'm like, oh, there's genuine interest. Like maybe this person doesn't know a lot about podcasting, or maybe they don't even listen to them, but the fact that they're into it, or like they're willing to listen, like that for me is like, oop, check.
Right.
I like
Exactly.
yeah.
Because even with that, like, so I mean, they can take those qualities and apply to the relationship. So let's just say me and you were dating, and I never heard of podcasting before, never listened to a podcast before. And then let's just say you said, well, y'all making podcasts now. And I go away and I come back and I'm telling you all about, like, let's just say the 7 day, how most podcasts quit after 7 episodes. And I've literally researched all this information about podcasting so I can have this conversation with you. Well, that's, like, that's thoughtfulness. You know what I mean? Like that's compassion. Like those are qualities that you can identify on an intellectual level that now will make you feel more appreciated, because like he didn't know anything about it, but he went and researched and learned it so he can talk to me about this thing that I'm passionate about. He knows how to support me into something that he may not be interested in, but at the same time, like he has the self-awareness, he has the intelligence to understand this in the moment, as opposed to just, oh, that's cool, that's cute. You know what I mean?
Right.
And be able to support you in a way that's just not, like it's unappreciative. You know what I mean? You've seen relationships with a guy will get a girl and be like, well, I got you now. Or you'll see like the married couple walking in the grocery store, and it's just like, the wife, you know what I mean? Like this is the lady or whatever. And you could tell like he doesn't really appreciate her, because in his mind, I got you. Like we're married. Like, there's nothing else I need to do. I can, pull out tuck my t-shirts and my short, my khaki, my cargo shorts with my sandals, with my white tube socks pulled up. I don't have to try to look good for you no more. I don't have to try. I don't have to show interest in you. I got you. And that's what
Mhm.
and that's trash. Like you need to have somebody that's self-aware and be able to be that fascinated by you and have the awareness to be interested in what you're interested in. Although they're not, I don't know, they may not participate, but at least be able to support you that way.
No, I completely agree. I feel like for me, like I'll know when I'm really into this person and if I would like to pursue a relationship with that person, if I'm proud to kind of show them off to my friends or family, like this is my man. Like,
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean? Like I don't even have to like explain it, but I'm like, this is the person that I'm dating. Like they speak for themselves.
Right, exactly.
Like yeah, like that's how I know, like, okay, yeah, I really like this person.
In a way that you're not really like if you walked away, you wouldn't come back and they've embarrassed themselves and you know what I mean? Like you trust them as far as who
Yeah,
they are to be around people that you care about and have already earned your trust and respect and love.
correct. I think at the end of the day, you want someone that is evolved as a person, but that can hold their own, like
Right,
that they
exactly.
themselves speak for themselves. Cause I think that's like super attractive for
Yeah.
any.
And I think a lot of it is like so for me, like I learned that like vulnerability is actually a way to develop intimacy, but you have to be willing to deal with that, which kind of comes to resiliency again. Like you say, if you tell me how you feel about me that's negative, me not taking it as a personal attack, like, well, damn, like, well, how can I, like, how does that make you feel? Like, what is that, saying, what can I do to help you through whatever it is you're dealing with? And so I think being able to have somebody that can do that also will help you develop an intimacy, which I feel like again will translate into everything else. Because I don't know, I feel like you can get to a point with somebody where it's like you're almost like one person mentally. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
I have guy friends that I have that we can see something and I automatically know what he's thinking and he automatically knows what I'm thinking. And so it's like a synergy, although it's obviously I'm not like it's not a romantic relationship or with a lady or whatever, but at the same time, like so imagine having that in a romantic relationship. Imagine having that sexually. Well, I just automatically can look at you and know what you want and just have that
Mhm.
vibe and be able to automatically just like shift with each other. It's kind of like, like like being in sync with somebody on that level. And you can't be immature, you can't be selfish, you can't be narcissistic, you can't have never thought about being better as a person. You can never have thought about, well, damn, like what's wrong with me? Like, how can I get better? What are my insecurities and my flaws? You know what I mean? So it's like you can't fake that, which I feel like what you were talking about earlier when you asked old boy, he's like, what do you think about this? Well, yeah, like he can come in like with that, that bravado and try to convince you that he's a confident guy. But when you start hitting it
Mhm.
with them Barbara Walters level questions, like you can't fake that. Either can you answer it or can you not? Like, what do you?
Right.
It's nothing for me to ask on a date. But what is your definition of love? Like, what is vulnerability to you? Like, how do you develop intimacy? And if you can't answer those questions, then you probably haven't thought about it. And if it makes you uncomfortable, that means you're probably not ready to deal with it. Because these, in my mind, these are softball questions. So what are we going to talk about down the road if you can't handle these questions? How can I get to know you if you don't know that for yourself? You know what I mean?
No, that's so true. I've been really like asking myself, like, okay, what do I want? Generally, like, what do I want? Because I feel like it's easier said than done. Like you think like today, like, oh, I want this, but it might change. So I'm trying to get to the core of what it is that I want in relationships.
Right.
Also, like you said, like vulnerability and intimacy do go hand in hand. And like I said, I know you're not speaking for the entire male species, but do you think it's harder for men to be vulnerable and kind of like communicate some of their turn ons or turn offs to
I,
people?
I think in general, yes. Just because, society, the pressure that society puts on men is, you have to be tough. And strength is not showing emotion, is, like just always willing to have an answer to every problem. Like if the house started burning down, I need to immediately know what to do. I need to automatically keep calm and not express fear or concern or whatever and just like save the day. I mean, and that's fine and people react their own ways, but I feel like that pressure has caused people to, well, men specifically, not to be able to feel comfortable talking about that. Because I mean, it's like, I've heard guys tell that, I mean, say, yo, like stop, toughen up, get out your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I've even seen, women react to guys like that, like, yo, like get out your feelings. So let's just say we were together and I had something go down, or I was feeling some kind of way about something, and I tried to open up to you about it, or I was kind of worried or concerned about something to you, and the first thing you tell me is, oh, get out your feelings, like man up, then I'm not gonna come to you again. Well,
Right.
I'm not gonna be quick to come to you again. So I feel like just that over the course of however many years of, of existence, yeah, like guys are going to be slow to do that. But I feel like now, specifically like with Brene Brown of bringing vulnerability to the forefront, I feel like it's at a minimum, guys are aware of it. Like you being aware of it and talking about that is such a huge thing because, when I was, a teenager, like it wasn't like, yo, like suck it up. And
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't really express yourself. And then you have all these feelings turned inwards that you can't express. And ultimately it comes out in toxic masculinity. It comes out aggressive. It comes out, toxic relationships, like, taking that out on somebody like that movie, Malcolm and Marie. It was like
Oh
whenever
my, that movie made me cry. The bathtub scene, I wanted to punch Malcolm in the face,
right.
but I was like, no, I'm not trying to be toxic.
But
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 yeah,
but
like,
but real talk though, but what he was doing to her is what society has done to men forever. Because you notice every time she tried to tell him how she felt, he steamrolled her. So
he
that's pretty
did.
much what men have been dealing with since how the beginning of time. And so now it's being projected on everyone else. It's like, hurt people hurt people.
It's true. And I feel like if you're tuning in, like, hurt people hurt people. And I hear that religiously everywhere. So I think ultimately, like, it's hard because trust me, like, we all want to be in partnerships. Some of us don't want to be alone. I'm doing this because
Right.
I feel like, what is being alone? Like, some people are alone or they're not. So it's
Right.
subjective, but I think, if you're not ready to be in a relationship, it's okay. I know for sure I'm not. And that's one of the main reasons why I haven't been in a relationship, because I'm not, 100% with myself. But at least I acknowledge that, you know what I mean?
That's huge.
Yeah. But as we're coming down to the end of the episode, I do want to, like, thank you so much for coming on here and
I
providing,
appreciate it. Thank you
your
for
two
having me on.
cents. Also giving us, your 5 intimacy, like, rundown. I thought that was, like, amazing, honestly. But share a little bit about your podcast and any upcoming episodes that you're gonna be having.
So it's Forbidden Fruit Podcast. You can find me at _forbidden_fruit_podcast on Instagram. It's on all major platforms. Also, so right now I've got check out the trailer. The trailer's been getting great reviews, and I'll tell this to you and your listeners. I'm actually working on turning that trailer into an animation. So when I send that email, kind of like I did with you, it'll be an actual like a legit Hollywood type animation. And so I have 2 episodes out right now: the knowledge of conscious parenting and the knowledge of love. And a sneak peek, just specifically only exclusively for your viewers. We're going to do the knowledge of adult attachment theory is going to be coming up in 2 weeks. So that kind of goes into a lot of these psychological, scientific reasons as to why people are attracted to that toxic behavior. I got a friend of mine that's going to come on and explain it in such a beautiful way. So be looking out for that.
No, I definitely want to listen to the science of attachment, because a lot of us are attached to toxicity and we don't even know it because
Yeah.
we think it's normal, which is crazy.
Yeah. I'll let you preview before I release it. You tell me what you think.
Yes. Do the same thing that you did. Slide in my DMs. Anyone listening, slide in my DMs. I really don't mind. If you're trying to work, let me know. But thank you so much, Nick, for coming and, giving us your 2 cents on turn ons and turn offs. And like he said, his podcast is available on all streaming platforms. You can also follow on Instagram. But don't forget, we're live every Wednesday or Thursday, depending on, the schedule. But thank you so much for being our guest today. And I hope you have a good rest of your weekend.
Thank you, Carmen. You too.
Thank you. Bye.